Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. This is what we have in store for you for this March 18th, 2013 edition.
Tonight on the InfoWars Nightly News, a run on Cyprus banks as the EU and European Central Bank loot people's accounts, shutting down the nation's banking system. Will Italy be next? Then, a TSA goon squad swarmed Chicago's metro train, claiming a man's medical test was a nuclear threat. Plus, behind Al Gore's green lie, hard proof global warming forecasts costing everyone billions are and have always been wrong. All that and more on the InfoWars Nightly News.
And welcome back. Top story headline: the rape of Cyprus by the European Union and the IMF. Now, just for a little background information on Cyprus, it's a little island that joined the Eurozone back in 2008, and the people there in Cyprus are having some difficulties by fraudulent taxes on their bank investments, where people are just being ripped off by the, well, not even bank investments, just their bank accounts are being ripped off by the government there. And also they're experiencing a bank holiday, meaning that they cannot withdraw any of their funds. Let's take a look at the article. We'll just slide through a few points here. There was no tax on the bank accounts in Cyprus. That's one point. A bank account is not a bond or a stock or any sort of investment. A bank account is the private property of a citizen or a corporation and does not belong to the government. There is a deposit insurance in Europe. It guaranteed that the bank accounts of citizens would be insured up to 100,000 euros. And there are many other points, great points to point out, matter of fact, in this article. I definitely encourage you to go ahead and read it for yourself. But it's a telling thing. You know, we've seen bank holidays and things such as that. People just having their money taken out of their bank accounts with really no explanation. Just fraud is basically what the explanation is. And tying into that, we also have another article. The banking chief calls for a 15% looting of Italian savings. That's a great graphic right there. That's pretty much what it is. The news of the International Monetary Fund initially demanded to loot a shocking 40% of savings from the private bank accounts of Cyprus, underscores the infamous IMF riot, as the chief economist for the German Commerce Bank calls for Italians to be similarly plundered for 15% of their savings. George Kramer, chief economist for the German Commerce Bank, said a tax rate of 15% on the financial assets would probably be enough to push the Italian government debt below the critical level of 100% of gross domestic product. And for more on that, Gerald Celente was on the Alex Jones radio show, and he has some thoughts to share.
All right, first, very important, a trend tracking tip. I write about it all the time. They always do it after the markets close, after it's too late. Whether it's a downgrade of a country's creditworthiness, releasing information about a big lie that they were covering up and are obligated to tell it about. It gives them time to rig it during the weekend so it doesn't go down as much as it should. Number two, what you said, the white shoe boy lingo. How about calling it a tax on deposits? Isn't that a nice word? How about stealing your damn money? The other important point, we're only talking about a $10 billion bailout here. This isn't a big one. It shows you the fragility of the entire system. The next important point, you're hearing now from the American Banking Association, from D.C., don't worry about it, Americans. Your money's insured. Yeah, just like it's insured over there in Cyprus. As a member of the Eurozone, the money's supposed to be insured for 100,000 euros, about 125,000.
But it's not insured from them stealing it.
Exactly. But here's what I believe they're going to do. When the crisis starts spreading, what they're going to do, they're going to devalue the currencies. So they're going to say, yeah, don't worry, your money is insured. But guess what? It's only worth a fraction of what it is. And we're talking about what? About $600 trillion worth of rigging? And then you want to see a rig that's right in front of everybody's eyes? How about the bond market? You don't have to make it up. You see the money that they're dumping into the system every month, 85 billion plus that we don't know about, beyond the 85 billion that we know. So what I'm saying is for people to use their own common sense. Look what's going on. Do you think that Europeans right now aren't pulling their money out of their bank accounts? Don't you think that they're freaking out because they see what's going on? This deal, when I've been reading everything coming out on it, when the people from Cyprus, the president and the finance minister, went to Brussels, the deal was already done. The Germans told them what they were going to do, and they were going to take the money from the depositors. And where's the money going? The money is going, it's not, they talk about the banks in Cyprus, and they talk about the banks in Italy and in Spain. No. These are the big German banks, the Finnish banks, the Dutch banks, the Belgian banks that loaned all these banks in the smaller countries the money to loan out. They didn't get that money on their own. So what they're doing is they're really taking this money from the bottom so they could pay off the big guys at the top. So all I'm saying is if anybody thinks that they're not going to screw you, well, good for you.
And great points as always from Gerald Celente.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.